Okay, so the topic of this video is chain rule, and chain rule is this kind of useful technique for deriving functions that are composite functions. That means a function inside of a function. So like f of g of x is a composite function, and we want to derive it. Don't get this confused with this next thing, f of x times g of x. These are totally two different things, and so a lot of people tend to, for some reason, kind of mix them up, but this isn't f times g. If it was f times g, it would look like this right side. This is f of g. So if you're going to derive this, the left side takes this new thing called the chain rule. If you're going to derive this side, you'd get to use the product rule, which we're all pretty good at using. So definitely not the same thing. And the way the chain rule works is to derive this entire thing. So let's imagine we want to take the prime of it. Well, to derive it means you're going to derive the inside first. So you're going to find g prime of x times the derivative of the outside, f prime, keeping the inside g of x. This is the chain rule formula. So we're going to apply this. We're going to look at a couple of examples. Let's imagine we had y equals 4x squared plus 2 to the 7th power, and we want to find the derivative. Well, we could definitely find the derivative. If we did, we would have to take this whole quantity and multiply it out 7 times before we want to power roll it. So I don't really want to multiply the quantity out 7 different times. That's going to be insane. Instead, I'm going to apply this handy chain rule thing, where I'm going to say, okay, there's an inside. This is something to the 7th power. So the something in the inside, I'm going to derive that first. 4x squared plus 2. That's 8x. Then I'm going to derive the outside. You know how it's something to the 7th power? Well, I'm going to bring down the 7th power and say it's something to the 6th power. Power rule, basically. But the rule is keeping the inside, so keeping 4x squared plus 2. And then this is pretty good for an answer. I'm going to make it simpler by doing 7 times 8. And 7 times 8 is 56. So I'm going to have 56x times 4x squared plus 2 all to the 6th power. And that equals dy dx, my derivative. And I'm going to call that my answer. Chain rule gets messier when you have these things called the double chain rule problems. And I want to show you an example of what I call a double chain rule. It's when you have something a little messier, so we'll call this example 2. Let's say you had like y equals sine to the 5th power of 4x. This is a double chain rule. There's an inside-outside, definitely. 4x is on the inside. But if you were to rewrite this, this is y equals the sine of 4x all to the 5th power, like this. So not only is there an inside of this, there's an inside of sine. There's like 2 insides. It's really messy. But to find the derivative, y prime, here's what you do. Ignore the 5th power. Just focus on sine of 4x. We're going to derive that. In fact, I'm going to go all the way into just 4x. I want to derive 4x. Well, the derivative of 4x is 4. So I'm going to write down 4. Then I'm going to kind of slide out here and look at sine. The derivative of sine is cosine, so I'm going to write cosine. According to the chain rule, you always keep the inside, so cosine keeping 4x. Then I'm going to slide out farther to where I have this 5th power. Something to the 5th power, if you power rule it, is 5 something to the 4th power. Keeping the inside, so keeping sine of 4x. And then this is my answer. I'm going to rearrange it, make it look nicer. 5 times 4 is 20, cosine of 4x. And then I'm going to rewrite this sine to the 4th power as sine to the 4th power of 4x. And this whole thing equals y prime. And I got my answer. Double chain rule.